children. It's Nikki. I think this is like the week of weird camera angles. And the reason I'm filming this way is because I can't find my tripod. I don't know where it is. Okay, so I have like a little list here in front of me, and I'm gonna try to go down the list of questions that I have to answer. This is how it happens when you're further down the list of members of the video thingy. I don't know if this angle looks right or not, because I can't see it. So we'll see when I finish. So Brody's topic was soulmates, and he wanted to know what we think about soulmates, whether or not we think soulmates exist. I'm gonna say that for the most part, I don't believe in soulmates. I feel like that's a fantasy. I feel like that's something that, you know, is in movies and, you know, fairy tales, but I don't think that that's the reality. I feel like any relationship you have to work hard at. I don't think there's just one person out there for everyone, because I know the relationships that I've been in were worthwhile, and I loved all of those people that I was in relationships with, and, you know, I don't want to say, oh, but they just weren't the right one for me, because at the time they were the one, you know, we had a good time, but sometimes things just don't work out for whatever reason. So I feel like I always go by the whole, there's plenty of fish in the sea, as cheesy as that may sound. Moving on, my little addition onto that is that when I looked at Brody's video again, it made me think of another side topic, which is, is there a difference between straight relationships and LGBT relationships, and what is that difference, if there is one? I think there is, and, you know, you guys can tell me in the comments if you agree or disagree, or, you know, Frankie, you can tell me if you agree or disagree after mine, in your video. But I feel like there is a difference, and I'll tell you why. There's not a difference in the fact that, oh yeah, it's two guys, or it's two girls, or it's a trans guy and a straight girl, or whatever it is. I think the difference comes in societal pressures and outside influences. And what I mean by that is, if you're in a gay relationship or an LGBT relationship of any kind, there's going to be that added pressure of what society thinks of it and how society views it. And as much as we like to think and say that we don't care what people think, we care. You know, if you think about Liz's video about paranoia, like, we do care. And I think that that causes more strain on the relationship than anything, and I think that could determine whether or not the relationship works or doesn't work, unfortunately. So what do you guys think? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Let me know. Next on the list is, Liz wanted to know, when did we discover that we were LGBT? In my case, bisexual. And it's interesting because I came out to myself when I was in college, and it was because I had a crush on my roommate, and I came out to her, and then, you know, well, I came out to myself first, and I didn't really quite know what bisexual was. I just knew that, like, I was attracted to her, and I really liked her, but I was like, I'm also attracted to guys still, I think. So, you know, I did some research online, and I was like, oh, bisexual, this looks like it fits me. So, once I discovered who I was and what bisexual was, and that I was bisexual, I came out to her. But it's interesting because when I think back on it, I had some experiences when I was a young girl with other girls, but I like sort of wrote it off as, like, you know, normal sexual experimentation or whatever. But now that I look back on it, yeah, I was queer from pretty much the beginning. But yeah, that's my answer. That was a good topic question, actually, Liz. Made me start thinking. And then finally, I have a topic that I want to bring up to you guys, and then I'm going to end this because I don't want it to be too long. So I had a situation recently where I had a crush on one of my coworkers, and I don't even want to get into the whole issue of, you know, is it awkward to date your coworkers, which I think it kind of is, but that's a topic for another video. What happened was, I wasn't sure what her sexual orientation was. I didn't know if she was into girls or not, and I didn't know how to figure that out. I mean, my GAYDAR is kind of wonky, Like, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And I just want to know, how do you deal with that? How do you deal with, you know, being attracted to someone of the same sex and then not knowing whether or not they are also attracted to members of the same sex? And then how do you deal with finding out? Like, do you just ask them straight out, which is what I did. I just asked her. I was like, so are you 100% straight? And she's like, last time I checked. And I was like, okay, that settles that. So do you ask them right out? Do you try to, like, find out from hints? Or, like, how do you deal with it? I mean, I think it's a tricky thing because you don't want to make moves on people who are not going to, like, return your advances, you know? It makes you feel kind of crappy, and then it's kind of awkward. So, yeah, that's my question. And then also a little side note, do you think gaydar exists? Or do you think it's just, you know, silly and made up? So yeah, that's my topics. Feel free to discuss it in the underbar. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye!